The thing you're talking about is the permission to play.
We're now getting Copilot and AI to do those tasks.
What does that convert into now? Is it like X amount of leads per week?
Where we went from getting 5,000 subscribers a month to 20,000 subscribers a month.
Am I doing one that's doing nothing, or am I building my channel, or am I building leads?
Now, 4 years on, we will easily get the minimum of 25 leads a month.
Scale Up, the podcast for driving growth in your MSP, delivered by industry experts.
So today we've got Jonathan Edwards joining us on the podcast, and we've got our host Darren. Jonathan's going to talk about how he's turned his MSP into a lead generating machine, generating over 20 leads a month and enabling him to deal with clients worldwide.
So thank you for coming, Jonathan. It's great to have you here. Tell us a little bit about your journey so far for the people that sort of don't know like this journey of the bearded 365 guy.
So I created my first video 10 years ago in 2015, and that was the end of life server 2003. And it took me 3 days to do. It was 3 minutes long, and I put it out there kind of to the world. And then following that, I did a few more videos on Dropbox and things like that. So I always had a bit of a fire about kind of video. And then I kind of, because it was taking 3 days to produce the video, I was running an MSP, and the MSP was much smaller then. So I kind of stopped doing it for a while, stopped doing it for about 4 or 5 years. And we just did then what lots of other MSPs and businesses do. We just kind of did a bit of this marketing and a bit of that and threw money at that and things like that. And then I started doing video again because I still had that kind of fire in my belly about it. And I did a video, I think at that time, I did one every week for about 4 or 5 months. And then I enjoyed doing it. But then I thought, I've been doing this for 4 or 5 months. I've not got any leads. I'm going to stop doing it again. So I stopped doing it. But then I kind of reached a point where, at that point, I was 15 years into running my MSP.
I thought you were going to say you were 15-year-old.
I was 15 years into running my MSP. And to be honest with you, I was starting to get a little bit weary. The MSP was still quite small. I was still very much on the tools, still doing a lot of the projects. I had staff coming and going because I wasn't a particularly great leader. And I was kind of walking through treacle a little bit. And at the time, I was considering kind of ways to get out of the business. I was just a bit fed up with it. And then just one weekend, I was flicking through YouTube, and there was a guy called Ali Abdaal, who's a YouTuber. And he was a doctor and then became this kind of productivity expert. And he had millions of subscribers, and he said, I've got this course, it's called Part-Time YouTube Academy, and we'll teach you how to get a YouTube up and running. And it's quite a lot of money. But I just thought at this point, I thought, it's kind of this now or never type thing. I need to get hold of this. And I've always had kind of an interest in video.
I suppose you wanted to try something different as well, right? Because
Yeah.
you said you were getting a bit frustrated in your MSP.
Exactly that. And in my mind as well, I thought maybe I can build up a YouTube channel and then get rid of the MSP, to be honest with you.
You might replace it.
Yeah, and maybe do something I enjoy a bit more. So I took this course, and it was very much it wasn't a course where they just say, here's all the information. It was a course done over kind of lives every week for 6 weeks. I don't remember any of the course at all, and it cost quite a lot of money. I just remember one thing, and Ali used to say this every single week. He used to say, your goal is to produce one video every week for 2 years. And if you do that, it'll change your life. And I just thought at that time, I thought, I can get into that. I can kind of subscribe to that goal. And so that's what I started doing.
And I suppose for the people that are listening or watching, the people who don't know, you know, you're quite popular on YouTube now. You're adding 20,000 subscribers on a monthly basis. You got recently knighted, I'm going to call it, as an MVP for Microsoft.
Yeah.
You're recognized by Microsoft quite high up in their leadership team. So this has been pretty successful for you, right?
Yeah, it has. But I mean,
so far, obviously,
yeah.
I get that it's going to be even more successful, but it's been pretty successful so far.
Yeah, but we're that video a week for 2 years that I committed to. I'm now at a video a week for 4 years. So
Okay.
we're kind of
You're 4 years in.
300 and odd videos in.
But it's changed everything you do now.
Completely.
You know, that journey, I think it's more like a 7-year core journey, isn't it, you talk about, which took you to build that subscribers and build what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's changed
Yeah.
what you do now.
So it's changed our business in terms of when I started doing videos, I thought, right, I'm going to do videos on IT because that's what I do. Let's do videos on IT.
So like how to configure a server.
Yeah, all that.
Really interesting
Which
stuff.
router's better?
Yeah,
How
oh,
to
yeah.
choose an IT company and cybersecurity stuff.
All the stuff that we get told.
Yeah.
You know, that's as an MSP owner, that's the type of material that we almost get brainwashed into. This is what your audience needs, and this is how you're going to grow your MSP.
But I suppose most clients don't really care about what router to have or how to configure a server or whether Word's better to use or something else is to do this particular task. They just don't really care about it, right?
No, YouTube's just a massive search engine. People aren't going on YouTube on a Saturday night and thinking, I know, let's search for the top 5 reasons to use an IT support company. That's not what's happening. People are going on YouTube selfishly to get answers to their problems. And so anything to do with, we kind of looked at all our videos, and I'm spending loads of time building this video on EDR versus MDR versus XDR, and it's going nowhere. And then I'm spending a little bit of time on how to get the best out of Microsoft Plan and Microsoft To Do, and it's kind of blowing up a little bit. And so the whole exercise was like a giant market research thing. It's like, this is what people want. They want to know how to get the best value out of their kind of investments out of the Microsoft 365. So that alone changed everything we did as an MSP.
So tell us a little bit about your journey as far as your own personal learning and getting comfortable doing this. You know, people aren't comfortable in front of the camera, including myself. You know, we've gone through a journey here on this podcast about how we're going to produce this and how you're going to be comfortable in that space. Lots of MSP owners and people that work MSPs are not going to be comfortable doing this and putting themselves out there. Tell us a little bit about that. How have you overcome that? What training or experiences?
No one, when they start doing video, no one likes to kind of hear themselves on camera, and you cringe when you put them live and things like that. I think that is completely normal behaviour, and I was no different to that. I think the only way to combat that is to kind of do it. And the key thing that I learned as well is the first time you publish your own video, you start your journey. And it's quite a magical journey. You don't have to think about cameras or mics or thumbnails or scripts, or you shouldn't think about any of that stuff. You should just press record and start your journey. And what happens when you do that is every few weeks you might think, okay, let's research new mics now and let's research thumbnails and things like that. And you try to get 1% better kind of every week with it. And it's all about personal growth. You know, so I'm 300 odd videos in now, so I can easily stand in front of a camera in my studio and knock out a video. I can wear dinosaur hats, I can wear peppers on my head. It's not an issue, and I can press publish. This today, I mean, podcasting is new to me, so I'm uncomfortable doing podcasts, but you just got to do them to then become comfortable, and then it's all about personal growth, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you talked a little bit last time we met about actually you've started doing more on the move videos,
Yes.
using a camera, and how that's been different to sitting in your room recording something.
Yeah. Well, when people see me, I think on videos and things, kind of acting about and stuff, they think I'm probably an extrovert and a confident person and things. And I'm not really like that at all. I'm more of a kind of introvert, prefer my own company and things. At MSP events, the party on a night, I'm sat in a hotel room kind of eating my pizza. I'm quite happy to be there.
What toppings do you have on your pizza?
Don't say pineapple.
It's usually a fungi.
Oh, mushroom guy.
Yeah, it's not almond pineapple.
Fair enough.
No, pineapple on pizzas. Where were I then?
So I just want to ask you a question, actually, something you said there. So I want to talk about, not your pizza toppings, we've done that now.
Yeah.
Just want to talk about an interesting thing you said about being 1% better every single time that you do something. In this case, you're talking about doing a video. How intentional are you about doing that 1% better? And what does it look like? What's your process look like to get 1% better every time you do a video?
Is there a process? It's kind of, we're still doing that now. So we're kind of 205,000 subscribers, and we're still kind of thinking about how can we make this better. So Christmas time was about us moving into a new studio, getting a new background, things like that. We're trying to refine some of the topics and things. So next year we'll be still doing these things. It's not a finished product at all. And that's the key thing. The minute you start on that journey of making yourself better. I went to an event recently. I spoke to 2 people about video. And they both said, we've bought all the gear, we've got the camera, we've got the mic, we've got the studio. And I said, well, how many videos have you got on your channel? They said, oh, we've not got any videos yet. We're going to research some topics and things. And I guarantee the next time I see them, they'll probably say the same thing because they've not started that journey.
Picking back up on that 1% journey as well, I like the story that we talked about, so I'd like to talk about it here, about this compounded effect that you've seen over that 7 years. Because I think what I see a lot in the MSP industry, including myself, we bounce around. You mentioned earlier about, like, you did a bit of this in marketing, did a bit of this in this, and a bit of this in digital, and nothing really worked. But your journey on subscribers, etc., has been quite a long, frustrating journey, and then gone.
Bit like a hockey stick.
Yeah, like a hockey stick, yeah. Good analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think in MSPs and businesses in general, it's the proverbial of throwing enough against a wall and seeing what sticks. So you do things like we used to do. We think, right, what we're going to do now is we're going to do LinkedIn, and we do it for 3 months. We might get a LinkedIn coach, and we pay for that. 3 months later, we've got no leads. Let's try cold calling. Same process happens again. Let's try paid ads, and you just jump from one strategy to another. Or you do all these strategies, but because limited time, limited money, limited resource, you don't do any of them particularly well. Or you outsource to a marketing agency. I see a lot of that. A lot of MSPs say that. I think the key thing for us, looking back, has been that focus. So we're an MSP now. We're about 2.5 million revenue, 20 people, and our marketing plan you can write on the back of a business card. Our marketing plan is still publish 1 video every week for YouTube. That's it. That's all we do. And because we've got laser focus on that, it allows us to get better and better at that.
And how does that work in terms of traction that you've had for your business? Like, what does that convert into now? Is it like X amount of leads per week, per month? What does that look like? Because I think it's great that you're telling us about the fact that you're doing 1 video every week, but what does that actually equate to? It's great that you've got subscribers as well. I'm a subscriber. I like your content, but it's like, I'm not buying off you. So what does that look like?
You've even moved roles.
Yes.
Let's talk about the leads and we'll talk about the roles.
Yes.
Okay.
So the guy who taught me to do 1 video a week for 2 years, I thought it was why 2 years, and it was pretty accurate. So after probably 18 months onwards of doing a video every week, so up to 18 months, it was quite really slow, few subscribers, few comments, few bits and pieces like that. But then after about 18 months, we started to get leads popping in, and leads popping in. And these leads weren't, I mean, we're based in Harrogate. These weren't Harrogate companies. They're everywhere, London, America, France, Germany, Australia, because YouTube's a global platform and Microsoft 365 is a global platform. So now 4 years on, we will easily get the minimum of 25 leads a month from YouTube, and it's usually a lot higher than that.
Wow, that's quite a significant amount of leads.
It is a significant amount of leads, yeah. So that's all we get leads for. No one rings up and says, I've Googled IT support Harrogate and you've come up.
Yeah.
There are 95% of our leads are YouTube based.
And they're all based on your speciality, which is Office 365 in their eyes.
And they're all warm.
Yeah.
So people ring up and say, I've been watching Jonathan's videos for 3 months and I want to sign up. I mean, we had an accountancy in London called up, 100 users, and they rang up and said, I've been watching Jonathan's videos. Can we sign up, please? And it's like, we don't even know what we charge. And it's like, we don't care. We just want to sign up. So these are cold leads ringing up.
Yeah.
If you think about doing SEO, you know, you might get a lead in from a local company, but they'll send the same contact form to 3-4 IT companies. And then they've got to kind of go through this sales process to try and win the business.
Yeah.
Whereas with us, the lead is coming in already quite warm.
Well, I think because they've seen you X amount of times on video, you almost built up a rapport with them
Yes.
that you haven't done personally, really.
Yes.
But there's a level of trust as well that they have. And I imagine you probably could charge, if you wanted to, more money for that. I'm not saying you do or you don't, but people will pay for that. But pay a premium, right?
Absolutely. And people think they know you as well. You're right about the rapport thing. So I've been to some events where people come up and kind of talk to me like they know me and things, and
Yeah.
they obviously don't.
I mean, people probably say, I watch someone's content religiously every week, and I've even started saying some of the things that he says. He's got this catchphrase, which is bloody hell. And I don't know why he says it so much. It's in like an investment sphere. And my wife has started saying bloody hell as well. So it's quite funny because you consume so much of the content. You start
Yes.
mimicking some of the words that those people use.
You do.
So because of these leads and this strategy of getting leads, obviously you've then got to start servicing those leads. So that must have changed your business, because like you said, it's no longer just Harrogate looking for IT support in that 10-mile, 20-mile radius. What's that journey been like inside the business? That must have been dramatic change.
So when I talked earlier about kind of getting weary after 15 years, I think you kind of become more aware of yourself as well. So I was very much aware of my skill set, what I was good at and what I'm not very good at. I'm not a terribly good leader of people, and that's I think why people came and gone early on in the business. And I used to kind of blame them, but I mean, looking back, it was 100% me. I'm not always a great communicator in the team and things. Process wise, not terribly good at process or detail. So I'm not setting myself up to be a good MD. So mixed in with that
It's
as
good
well.
that you're good at video.
Yeah, it is. I'm not good at anything else.
And that you're self-aware and know what you're not good at.
So mixed in with all this, because after 2 years when we started getting the leads, I'm thinking, I'm still enjoying the video, but I'm still running this business. I'm still a little bit in treacle because I just don't like running this business. And then, so I recognised I probably needed an MD at this point to run the business side of it, and I continue doing this. So I suppose what I'd like to say now is, we went to a headhunter and asked him to find the perfect MD that suited our culture and values. But in reality, I bumped into a mate I used to know at the beer festival. And I said to him, it's Simon. And I said to him,
How many pints were you in by this time?
it was a beer festival, it was raining. I'm stood in a tent, empty plastic glass. You can see the scene, can't you?
But how many plastic glasses have you had so far?
6, 7.
Okay, good. So a good amount.
6 or 7. I used to play football with Simon, and he was known as Annoying Simon, so I didn't particularly like him. And I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and I thought, if I just don't make eye contact, then he might not speak to me.
Yep.
It was like that. So he came up to me, though, and we asked what we were doing. He started his career in IT. He then moved on to financial services and recruitment, big into sales, and ended up being the MD. But he'd left that business after 19 years. And he asked what I was doing, and I explained. And he kind of forced a meeting on me. He said, I'll come and see you Monday. And then he came on Monday, and we chatted for a couple of hours. And I thought, this guy knows what he's doing, really. So I brought him in as a sales guy, actually. But then he came into the business doing sales, but then started asking questions about operations, started asking questions about finance. And so after 2 years, he is now running the MSP side of it. And so that partnership between me and him is really good, because I'm really good at what he's not very good at, and he's good at what I'm not good at. So it's a really nice partnership.
So he's good at leadership, but I believe not good at football.
He's not good at football. He's terrible at football. Marketing, things like that, he's not very good at. But he's a good leader. Very detailed.
So, Jonathan, tell us a bit about what success looks like for you and what you're doing. And what I mean by that is, one of the things you spoke about earlier was how MSPs start something, they do it for 3 months, they stop. They start for another 3 months, they stop, right? We see that a lot. People aren't consistent. But I often see people that don't actually look at the right things in their business. So let's take example, you're doing a YouTube video, or you're doing a blog. What are the things that you would actually measure on those to know that that video or blog has been successful or not successful, in order for you to change, get that 1% increment next month?
I think related to kind of video, as a creator, you kind of mix with two things sometimes. I can create a video tomorrow that I know will do well from a view point of view and a subscriber point of view. So for example, we created one a few weeks ago, how to upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11. And that kind of quickly got up to about 100,000 views, but I knew it would do. So that's quite good for your ego, but that will never, ever bring a lead to our door. So it's finding those niche things, I think, that are successful. So we did a video 3 years ago on why not to use GoDaddy for Microsoft 365. And still today we get leads from that video. It didn't have loads of views, but we still get leads from that video. So it's balancing that. Do you want your channel to grow, or do you want leads? And it's kind of just balancing that all the time.
So how do you balance it? Do you want a bit of both?
Yeah, we do.
How do you balance it?
We do, because we do want to grow our channel. That's going to lead to new opportunities and things. But as I said, the video is the vehicle for the leads for the MSP. That is the crucial thing. And sometimes we kind of have to tap ourselves and think, hang on a sec, the last few videos, how are they going to bring leads in?
So it sounds like you need the right audience viewing a video, right? That's going to be about the right topic, because that's what they're going to look at.
Yeah.
That will convert into a lead. So
Yeah.
if you're talking about stuff where you've got a video about stuff that's not going to be relevant to the people that you're targeting,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to be successful.
And how we do our video as well. So I've seen a lot of technical people do videos, and it's just tech. And I'm a little bit the tech, and even I kind of switch off from it. So I've got a way I design my videos. We used to have a customer who was an accountant, and he was called Richard, and he was our kind of ideal customer. They had about 80, 90 users and things. And he was just after kind of an IT partner that he trusted. And I was that person for him. But he would always invest in IT, but he wanted to know what he was spending the money on. And he didn't want the minute I started talking technical, you could just see he switched off and he wasn't interested. He just wanted a few sharp, accurate things of why I was going to buy this new product. And then he'd say, right, I get it, go ahead. So what I do when I'm creating my videos, the first section is always about trying to communicate what this product does in a language that Richard would understand. It's kind of the Richard test that I put it through. And I look at the scripts, and sometimes I think, no, take that bit out, take that bit out, take that bit out. So a successful video for me is that the end user can understand what it does. And later on now, what I've got into is doing the actual tech product, the demo as well, how to do it, which the audience probably wouldn't be interested in. But that's how I kind of lay out my videos.
The 2 points that I wanted to sort of pick up on. One point was the first bit about how you'd sort of sectored it really into two different things. You've got one for your channel subscribers, one for your leads. But you clearly know what they are, but that's from experience.
Yeah.
So someone starting today, what things would they monitor to understand, am I doing one that's doing nothing, or am I building my channel, or am I building leads? What things would you suggest they monitor?
I think even moving away from video marketing in general, you've got to have this focus. You've got to say, well, what does my MSP do? And you go onto some MSP websites and it's IT support, cable installations, Wi-Fi, cybersecurity. There's just long lists of pages for what that MSP does. And it's that kind of, is it Seth Godin who's got that book about purple marketing? So if you're a prospect looking for IT and you're looking into a field and all you're seeing is black and white cows, how is anybody standing out there? And when you don't stand out, you're invisible. So you've got to focus on one thing that you want your MSP to stand for. And with us, it was Microsoft 365. And then when you focus, you'll see that the leads start coming to you. I don't think I've answered your question there. I think I've answered a different question.
You've answered a great point, though. I think there's some of that there about that focus and, you know, being intentional with what you do. But I think for me, just like almost like the top 5, let's call them KPIs or data points that you monitor to know, was that useless? Was it building my channel? Was it bringing leads? For someone that's starting today, what would you do?
I don't. So me going back to my lack of detail, I don't have any KPIs for it. I judge it. So Simon will say, I spoke to a lead today, they've watched this video and, you know, that's why they contacted us. Spoke to the list lead, they've watched this video. So I will then hone in on things like that, looking at trends in the marketplace as well. Copilot is massive now. So what's going to happen? People are going to take to YouTube to want to know how Copilot can help the business. So there's the opportunity. And after Copilot, it's going to be other things. You know, it's just a never-ending industry. So when it comes to KPIs, no, I don't have lots of key performance indicators to look at. Has that been successful? I just carry on producing that one every week.
So in terms of your scripting process or ideation process, do you not normally look at, right, this is what I'm going to call the topic, this is what I want people to learn, and this is what the outcome that I want, and this is what success looks like, which is X amount of viewers or stuff like that? I get that you might not have the success bit by the sounds of it, but do you go through those top 3 things I spoke about?
What we do is if we've got a product that we'd like our customers to buy. So at the moment, we'd like our customers to invest in Global Secure Access by Microsoft because it's quite a new product. So what I will then do is create video content around that. And that, of course, trains my engineers. So they watch the videos as well. That's our main training plan. We can push that out to our customers and say, this is what you need to be buying, this is what it is, things like that. So we do look at products that we want customers to buy. That's not answered your question either, does it?
No, so
I don't do KPIs. Right?
You're good at content, just not questions.
Yeah.
I think we should get Jonathan back for a podcast on KPIs. I think it'll be quite a good one, I think. So back to my question, which is
About KPIs.
Yeah, about KPIs. No, about the kind of process of when you're actually coming up with content for your video.
Yeah.
Do you have some type of outline of, hey, this is what we're going to be talking about. This is the type of people that we want to engage with this particular video, and these are the outcomes we want to get to. Do you have anything like that?
Probably not as in depth of that. So I'll pick a topic and we'll talk about what that topic is, a technical demo, but nothing like that. And the titles as well come after the video's made. Okay. It doesn't come before.
I think what you're really good at though, and I get lots of comments
KPIs.
about it, is KPIs.
Not KPIs.
And looking at the detail.
Yeah.
Definitely not good at that anyway. But I think I even get comments from my team who see your stuff. We were even talking about Planner yesterday. They search for something, they see it, and then the video resonates very easily with them. I think one thing that you're good at, going back to that, is getting a topic but converting it in a way that nobody else has.
That Richard understands.
Is there a process, even if it's just in your head? How do you go about hearing this problem over here and then going, actually, what I'm going to do with that problem is I'm going to stand in front of you with this toy mic and a flat cap, and I'm going to talk about this thing to get that point across? Or is that just your creativeness that has always just been there?
I'm not a massively technical person, and I look at some kind of MVPs and people out there, and I'm in awe of their technical abilities. I'm not that person at all. So a lot of my video output is my understanding of a topic. So we go back to Global Secure Access. It's a new product. It's released by Microsoft, and I'm like, what's this? I don't know what it is. It's the first time I've seen it. So I will lock myself away for a day or 2 days, and I will learn that product. And our industry in general has got this problem where there's all these technical products and all these technical people, and then there's all these people over here who might want to buy it, but there's no connection between them at all. Yeah, and it's an industry issue. And I think what has happened, the reason I probably got an MVP as well was probably people see that I'm trying to bridge that gap between it. So my video output, my final video, sometimes is my understanding of a product myself in a way that I understand it, because I'm not that technical person.
It's interesting actually that Microsoft don't even make their own content to dumb down some of the stuff that they do, but I suppose they're focused on the technical people of explaining what their product is, because they resell most of their licenses. I imagine it's not direct. So it's really interesting that you're doing that, and you've been given this MVP status, and they've recognised it.
Yeah, Microsoft are terrible at marketing. Really are terrible at marketing. They do release these products that are really good, but it's like the technical team and the marketing team just don't kind of communicate about it. There's such an opportunity, and I think it was kind of right place, right time for me. So I started doing these videos I was trying to be their marketing team in a way for my own customers, and it's just kind of that's what's resonated with so many people.
I think it's really interesting though, because there's a technical background, including myself. I often would write something like a blog, and I'd say, well, that's done in human. I'm thinking I'm dumbing it down from a technical language into a human language, and then someone comes along who is non-technical and goes, I don't understand any of that.
Absolutely.
Because you think you've done it, but you've not.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of technical people think that way. And I watch some videos and it's just like, I can't cope with this. So that's just because I'm not a technical person myself, really. I've done enough in my career to kind of get by from a technical perspective.
You've obviously got 205,000 subscribers, like you said. Why do you think people subscribe to your content and come back and consume it? Do you have any figures on how many people do come back and watch another video?
There are some stats within the YouTube.
I think you're asking another KPI there.
Yeah, we are going down detail here, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's been a steady growth. It kind of, if you like, blew up maybe about 10 months ago, where we went from getting 5,000 subscribers a month to 20,000 subscribers a month. And that just keeps growing. So I don't know. People probably resonate with the way I kind of delivering things, and I think people like to be entertained as well along the way. If you're watching a 20-minute video and there's one person stood in front of a camera talking for 20 minutes about a topic, then you're going to just switch off. I try to put a little bit of humour into it and a bit of entertainment into it, because then people are more likely to stay. And if they stay to the end, then you start to get better and your videos will be pushed up the algorithm more.
And what are the most popular props that you use that get the most amount of views? And you said you inject humour in some of the things. I've seen some of the videos, which some of them are quite funny. What are the ones that are your most popular ones? What are the props you've used?
So the dinosaur hat is obviously the most popular. So 300 videos in, I go to events. I've done 6 with a dinosaur hat on out of the 300.
Dinosaur head?
Yes.
Like a whole head?
Yeah.
He's called Rex, isn't he?
God, Rex.
Rex, okay.
So again, Rex, that character came from, we were speaking to potential clients and things, and clients are saying, our IT company's trying to sell us a server. Our IT company's trying to do this. And it's like, it's an old-fashioned way of looking at IT. It's a dinosaur way of looking at it. So that's where Rex came from, because a lot of prospects will watch Rex and think, that's our IT company, they're like that. Maybe there's another way. So yeah, out of 300 odd videos I've done on the channel, 6 of them I'm wearing a dinosaur hat. And when I go to events, people come up and say, you're the dinosaur IT again.
I actually used to call you the dinosaur man because I didn't actually know your name. So I was like, oh, that's the dinosaur man from YouTube.
Yeah. I pour my heart and soul into half-an-hour videos about Apple and Intune and things like that.
Yeah.
And people remember me putting a dinosaur hat on and talking crap for 60 seconds.
Again, I think it's because it's got that humour. It's inhuman.
Yeah.
You know, it really resonates with people.
Yeah.
And the way you did the dinosaur, do you want to still go to your dinosaur IT? It just really resonates with everybody.
Yeah.
Not only the customers that you want, but I think you probably get a lot of people that are MSP employees.
Yeah.
But it resonates with them as well.
Yeah. And they'll be thinking, oh, our MSP's like that. And maybe some MSPs
are thinking, God, I'm
that's
like
us.
Yeah.
We're still selling servers and things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of resonates with so many people. I've got Fred as well, who's like a Yorkshire businessman, wears a flat cap and things. So yeah, different. I'm always looking to get more characters if you've got any suggestions.
I think you did a pineapple. That one as well?
It was a pepper.
Pepper.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things we'll ask all the viewers and people who are watching this is maybe in the comments they could give you some new props. Like if there's any sort of hats they think that you could wear.
Within reason. I'm willing to do anything.
Please comment about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you could move it to full outfits, maybe.
Yeah. As I say, within reason.
So let's move it back to your brand, because you've obviously built a brand, right? That's what we're talking about here. People see you as the Office 365 expert, right? And that's how you're getting leads from all over the world, you said, because you're perceived as the expert. What makes you think that they think that you're the expert?
I think people like to deal with people. So I've created this kind of individual brand. I'm kind of the bearded 365 guy. And people think, well, he's the expert. He must be the expert on 365. And it helps as well when you Google lots of Microsoft 365 terms, then my videos rank quite highly there. So I think the personal brand is a nice idea for a lot of MSPs to do, because I think when you're marketing as a company, it's a different beast to when you're marketing almost as an individual. I've obviously got an MSP behind me, but I'm marketing as an individual person. And I think people connect with that more.
I mean, we know ourselves, even things like LinkedIn platform will totally favour a personal post over a business post.
Definitely, yeah. And I think in our industry as well, people might have mistrust of IT companies and things like that. And it's all a bit smoke and mirrors and things like that. So when you put yourself forward as an individual, you kind of build trust. I think that's why it is.
So in your videos, at the end of them, you're not saying, hey guys, I can help you with Office 365 and all this stuff. You're not doing that. It's just about helping people, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all free content. I do say that at the start. I do say, I help businesses all over the world with the Microsoft 365, which Darren fans.
We need to do that again in the right voice. That was just not good enough.
Yeah. So at the start, I do this. Hello, my name's Jonathan, also known as the bearded 365 guy. I help businesses all over the world with their Microsoft 365.
That's much better. That's much better.
And then it cuts to Rex doing it.
Yeah. We'll bring Rex in.
Yeah, I mean, that start of that video, even in our office, when that video comes up and it says, I support 365 all over the world.
Yeah,
You just know what video they're watching.
Yeah.
Straight away. You've almost created a brand with that sentence without realizing that's what you've done.
Yeah. I didn't know that at the time. And that's developed. So I used to say, my name's Jonathan from Integral IT. I help businesses with their IT support and cybersecurity all over the world. And so it's completely changed. It's that 1% change and improvement again over time.
Do you think that people find IT support boring?
Yeah, well, it is boring. And I was saying to Darren earlier, we don't sell IT support anymore. And we sell Microsoft 365 implementation, security, and support. It's like a byproduct. We sell Azure implementation, security, and support as a byproduct. We will start selling more of Copilot services this year. And then you look at lots of MSPs on LinkedIn and things, and they're still selling IT support. And they're still saying things on LinkedIn like, use us for IT support, we're the best, and things like that. And I think it was talked about at Microsoft Ignite. If you're not evolving and not selling the latest products that people want as an IT company, if you're a Rex, a dinosaur IT services, I think you're going to be struggling in the next few years.
Well, I think the challenge is you've got people like Richard who haven't got a clue what they need to have, what they should buy, what they should not buy, what services they should have, etc., etc., etc. Right? So they may not even be aware of Rex, right? The Rex type companies, the dinosaur IT companies. They just don't know. But at some point, there must be an understanding that stuff isn't breaking as much anymore when it comes to IT. Your laptops generally work just like your phones work all the time. That's what people expect. So there isn't as much value perceived in IT support anymore, right?
Absolutely.
And do you think your channel's been successful because people realize that actually the stuff that you're talking about is going to give their business value?
Yeah, I mean, your Richards of this world are still paying an invoice every month for Microsoft 365, and you've got all these products included in it, and your Richards of this world aren't using them, and they're thinking, well, hang on a second, why aren't we using these? And they're talking to their, colleagues and other business owners, and they're saying, oh yeah, we're doing all that. And so the Richards of this world will soon realise that I think the company of the ring for IT support aren't giving them the best kind of service. And again, we've had people ringing us saying, we've got an IT support company and we're really happy with them and we really like them. But, and then something else follows. So IT support companies are losing business by not doing anything wrong. They're doing what they said they promised they would, but they're still losing business.
I think it's really interesting because when you talk about that's your USP now, you lead with the 365 stack and lead with that proposition, and then the support's a tiny bit. I see this a lot in our consulting engagement. So when we're looking at what's the USPs of the business, so we can ensure that we're delivering that, let's say in service or in sales battle cards or whatever it may be. And typically they will rhyme off the 3 things that I hear from every IT company. We're all about the partnership. We're here for the long term. We're always thought leadership, and we're looking at all the new stuff, and we're going to secure your environment to the best we can.
But can you put a server in your broom cupboard over there for us if we need that?
It's a purple cow thing again, isn't it? So all these IT companies are saying the same thing. We're really good at IT support. Well, you should be, because that's what you do. And we're really good at securing your network. It's like, well, you should be. Although a lot of them so obviously still aren't. But it is this purple cow thing. I think if you're going to succeed as an MSP in marketing, you've got to make yourself different somehow to the rest. I mean, we're doing a bit of a rebrand at the moment in our MSP, and we've got kind of web developers and things. And they're like, what do you want? I said, look at all these IT companies' websites and do the complete opposite. That's what we want. We don't want to do anything like that. We want to be different. Everything we do, we want to be different. And that's the way you've got to succeed with marketing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the people I used to work with quite a long time ago, I always remember he used to talk about, the thing you're talking about is the permission to play. So you're almost saying the IT support, doing it really well, is just the permission to play. It's not the thing to shout about.
No, it's not. You shouldn't be leading with that anymore, not in this day and age. And Copilot, as I've said previously, Copilot represents a magnificent opportunity, I think, for MSPs around the world. It's like we can go into businesses, we can make them more efficient with less resource, and we can do that. We can make some good money off doing that. And that is an opportunity of a lifetime. I
So
think.
tell us a bit more about that then. So how would you suggest an MSP monetizes Copilot stuff? Like, what are your suggestions?
So I think the way the MSPs world is working at the moment, or changing to, is we will go into businesses. We will look at each individual person. We'll look at every department. We'll look at every process they do. So we'll do that legwork, that floor walking, and then we'll try and identify key areas where we can make them efficient. Take, for example, you might have a HR person. That HR person, they obviously hire people. They keep on top of regulation. They're part of the senior leadership team. That's one of their roles. And we can't really do much with Copilot for that. That is something they need to do. But also mixed in with those roles, they're doing lots of admin stuff. The phone's ringing with someone saying, how much holiday entitlement do I have? Do I get paid if I'm off sick? All these other things that are kind of admin. And if these admin tasks take 20, 30, 40% of their time, imagine if we could get Copilot agents to replace that. So instead of that HR person who's on 60, 70, 80,000 pounds a year doing admin tasks, we're now getting Copilot and AI to do those tasks. So we're freeing up all that time and all that money for that HR person. Now you look at that in a business with 100 people, and we go around all these people and we're freeing up 20, 30, 40% of their time. Now, as a business owner, your Richards of this world, they're going to be all over that, all over it. And that's the future, I think, of MSPs. Not we fix problems within an hour. How do you start doing videos? If you're running an MSP, I started and stopped video twice before because I was running an MSP and I didn't have the resource. And even when video started to do okay and before I got an MD in place, I was still struggling with the output of video. So I think if I was starting a YouTube channel again and I had a smaller MSP and I was struggling for time already, I would 100% have an editor, because editing is quite a long process. So I would 100% outsource that to someone on Fiverr. If I was doing a YouTube channel today, I would get my phone out and I will commit to doing a 2-minute video every week on my phone. I'd script it out in my Apple Notes, I'd film it, and I'd give it to someone on Fiverr, and I'd just commit to doing that every week from every 3 months. And then I'd start to get some processes into it a little bit more.
So there's a time commitment clearly that you're talking about, right? And back to what you spoke about earlier, there's consistency as well. A lot of people will be watching this or listening to this thinking, yeah, that sounds great, Jonathan, that you've got to the stage of doing a video a week, but I don't really know if I'm going to be able to commit the time to that. So part of the solution is outsourcing some of the stuff. So maybe the editing side, which is probably pretty difficult anyway to someone else. But you got to the state where you were like, actually, I'm going to focus on this full time as opposed to running my MSP business as well. Why did you do that? Where was the switch in your head from going from that to actually, I'm going to do this full time?
I think even going back 10 years to the first video, I always had a bit of a fire in my belly about video creation. I think there's something quite nice about sitting down on Monday morning with a blank piece of paper and not really understanding where you're going to go with it. And then at the end of that week, you've got a finished video on YouTube. I think there's something quite nice about that process. And it's really challenging. Every week is quite challenging when you sat in front of a blank piece of paper. And today people send me LinkedIn messages and say, I've just done my first video on YouTube. Can you let me know what you think? And I never really watched the video because that's not the most important thing. It's the fact that they've got started. And I always kind of ask them, did you love doing it? The most important thing is, did you love doing it? So forget about feeling awkward on camera and you don't like the sound of your own voice. Did you have that little bit of fire in your belly about doing it? Because if you didn't, you're not going to do one every week for 2 years. You're going to quit as soon as you can and say, well, video didn't work for me, I'll do something else.
So just focusing a bit about that time, because we get that a lot inside consulting about, we haven't got time to do this thing you're asking, or we haven't got time to do this. And what we always drag it back down to is actually everyone's only got so much time. It's all about priorities. And what one of our really good mentors taught us was Habu, about the highest and best use of your time. So what we're actually saying is, over this journey, you've changed the priority of delivering video over something else. So you've still had a list of 1,000 things to do, but rather than video being at the bottom and never getting done, you've got another 995 things that aren't getting done, but video is number one.
Yeah. And back to the kind of fire in your belly, right? Let's say I'm an MSP owner, there's no fire in my belly. I hate doing videos. I don't want to do videos. However, I realize that there could be success in doing videos, but I don't want to do it myself. What would you recommend to those types of people?
So there's a couple of different answers there. The first answer is my journey. It is about video, but it doesn't have to be about video. So if I was an MSP owner, I thought, there's actually no way, absolutely no way I'm getting on camera. Well, why don't you focus on LinkedIn? Why don't you make that? There's some people who've built massive businesses just by being LinkedIn people who would never, ever get on camera. Why don't you focus on being the best at paid ads? Why don't you focus on being the best at telesales? This is kind of lessons in marketing, not just video. So that's the first answer to the question. I think the second answer to the question is marketing in your MSP shouldn't be an event. It shouldn't be, right, we're a bit quiet on service desk now. We haven't got many projects in pipeline. I know what we'll do. We'll do a bit of marketing. You know, you wouldn't treat finance like that. Can you imagine that? We've got no money in bank. I know, we'll send some invoices out. You just wouldn't do that because finance is such an important process. And marketing has to be treated as the same kind of process in your MSP. So I do wholeheartedly think you should have a marketing resource within your MSP. And I do think it should be the owner. It's like, you know, no one loves my kids as much as me and my wife do. No one loves my MSP as much as I do. You know, that's it. So I should be the one driving that marketing.
So I suppose one of the things you could measure as an MSP owner is how many hours a month, like what time are you spending on marketing in your business? That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do execution, but how much thinking time are you actually spending per month to get stuff done, right? Whatever that may be. How many hours would you say that you would tell the audience to dedicate on a monthly basis?
How many hours do I dedicate to
marketing? Not you. How many hours would you tell our audience to dedicate? If they're doing 0 now, what's the first step change?
I think as an MSP owner, you should be concentrated on marketing at least half a day a week.
Okay.
And I think that should move up. Getting leads in cures lots of problems in any business. Sales are the lifeblood of any business. So it has to be your main priority.
Great takeaways there, Jonathan. Thanks for being on the show. For our audience, have you got some key points that you want to talk about in marketing, things you're struggling with? Maybe we can do a podcast on that topic for you. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of Scale Up, don't forget to like and subscribe. If there are any topics that you would like to see on a future episode of Scale Up, please leave a comment below.